We are the world, we are the children. Does it ring some bells? Well, when the world was rocking to the tunes of this Grammy Award winning number, I, at the tender age of 6, was manifesting death. Today's topic that I'm going to venture into is something that, though half of the world has experienced it, but talking about it is still considered to be a social stigma. It was not easy to come up with this subject, and I had to draw a lot of courage and strength. So let me share with you what gave me that energy. It was a chance visit by a 47-year-old, beautiful, resilient, accomplished woman who opened up about her childhood abuse, and she was crying with bottled up unhealed pain. And while she was narrating her story, I was reliving the reels of my early childhood. Let me share with you a glimpse of my childhood home. A sprawling 20-acre palatial haveli of 5 houses, each having their own entrances, all connected by 2 huge courtyards. In these 5 houses lived my extended family, with house helps and servants. An army of them lived there at different designated locations of this premises. Well, this huge place was my home, and I found it to be the safest place in the world. Among the crowd of trusted help and servants lurked a predator. This predator, one day on a hot afternoon and deserted balcony, found enough courage to pounce on his prey, a prey of 3 or 4-year-old kid. And that child was left with what you and me know as child molestation. That child was none other than me. And at that point of time, I was scared, fearful, bewildered, angry. I had lost my expression. I lost my voice. I did not know what was happening, trying to assimilate what was happening around. As the days went by, this traumatic event was there in my head. I would translate into this event anytime and anywhere, whether I was in the classroom with my teachers, or I was at home with my parents, or with my grandparent trying to put me into discipline. But I wasn't listening. How would I understand what they were saying? I wasn't able to understand. There was something else going on at the back of my mind. And my rebellion shouted out to them, "Why are you not able to read my unsaid? Why can't you hear what I am not able to tell you? Why can't you understand? There is so much going on in my mind and in my eyes. Why can't you read it?" Perhaps they could never have understood or imagined what I have gone through, and they never understood that. And slowly and gradually, my trauma, bottling up pain, led me to becoming a sick child with constant sore throat and severe stomach issues. I was stuck in time when I was molested and abused. And I thought nobody cared, nobody loved, and I'm absolutely unwanted, leading me to ask for death to come. And the universe was manifesting it for me through accidents and through coincidence that was happening with mistakes. Like my house help poured in phenyl into my tonic bottle, that too by mistake, and the rest is history, though I'm very glad that I'm standing here alive talking to you today. But let's understand, since I was going through all that, I felt so unloved, unwanted, desolate, depressed. How many other people in the world may be going through something similar? Let's go through some startling statistics. According to WHO report of June 2020, globally, it is estimated that 1 billion children aged 2 to 17 years of age have gone through physical, mental or emotional abuse of some kind or the other. That is half of all the children in the world, or every second child to be precise, or maybe the person sitting next to you. Well, it has been seen that these abuse has been done or maltreatments have been through a caregiver, a house help, or through a family, that is someone known. And let me tell you, it has been also noticed that major and grave consequences has been noticed as a consequence of these maltreatments, like stress related, that is associated with disruption of early brain development, stress that impairs the development of nervous and immune system. It also inflicts children of their behavioral, physical or mental health issues that may later lead to heart ailments or cancer or suicide. There are many other things attached to it. My journey, as you all know, started in my childhood, when I was still trying to establish my perception of the world with that of the outer world. The paradigm was huge and paradoxes too many. What was it that I was actually missing out on? Someone approachable, an empathetic listener, a warm heart, a caring touch. This led me to sadness and complete detachment from my environment, from my studies, and actually led me to think about, questioning my existence. And not only that, slowly and gradually, I developed anger issues to protect myself, which later on I came to know is a common denominator of childhood abuse. At this point of time, my parents introduced me to my mentor. Well, I was quite amazed to see how people lead the entire life in the service of others. And since it was my formative years, I unconsciously, it became a part of me. As I found immense pleasure in my mentor's illuminated selfless world, always guiding me beyond my perception of world and life. It wasn't until I was 12 years old that I experienced transformation. My family and I were sitting in my mentor's mud hut on a September evening, and I drew up the courage to ask him about the meaning and significance of my spiritual name. And I was rewarded with a power talk that still resounds in my mind. My mentor translated my name, Aparajita, means invincible. In brevity, he asked me to identify the importance of being powerful from within. And he quoted Ramayana and said to identify how Sri Ram, in spite of all the challenges and difficulties, brought back Sita. It was that invincible spirit that he carried. Through that metaphor, he asked me to be that invincible power that has the power to achieve or can conquer anything. That was the breakthrough moment of my life. It was like Neo's awakening in the movie Matrix, where it is depicted that Neo is dodging the bullets in slow motion. It was that breakthrough moment for me. I felt like life has a meaning all of a sudden. I felt like I was on fire and I have wings to fly. I could see possibilities for myself. All of a sudden, from a rag doll, I have become a superwoman. And I felt very powerful from within. And surprisingly, I started acing out everywhere. In my academics, in my dance, drama. I was, in fact, everywhere. Well, world is not an ideal place, and neither was mine. Though I had a lot of lessons earlier in my life, but there was some more to come by way of bogging down and criticism. So even my teachers never considered me to be a potential winner. And there are certain life lessons that come to us and we do not realize that there has been some lessons unless and until we are forced to look back and see how life event has changed us completely. So it was in 10th standard that I understood how help, enabling, and empathy are all linked together. When my teacher put all his belief in me and saw that I achieve my true potential. So here I was with the key takeaways of my earlier childhood, of being selfless, and of my teens to be that of helping others reach their true potential. These were so important and so strongly ingrained in me that I became a lawyer so that I could help people. I practiced law for a few years, and after that I started venturing into my passion of occult sciences, where I was trying to help people who were struggling, and I was trying to give them solutions so that they can achieve what they want in their lives. Then, after a decade of practicing that, I have been practicing empathy and helping others reach their true potential. And while practicing all this, I have come to the conclusion, I have discovered the 3 E's, the triple E's of life, the pillars of life and society. Empathy, to listen without any interruption and judgment. Number 2. Enabling to face. Number 3. Empower to change. Well, have you ever realized why very few of the individuals come out in the open and talk about the abuse that they have gone through or the scars that they have? We need to ask this question to ourselves. Are we empathetic or understanding enough or approachable enough to these people? Or are we shying away from this fact even during these liberated times? Well, let me share with you a fact. Every third person in this world have gone through abuse in some form or the other, in childhood or later. And while we are talking, 20 people every minute are being abused in one of the most powerful countries in this world. The very fact that we do not talk, and there is a lot of perceived stigma attached to it. And not only that, there's a lot of stigma attached to this fact that it shouldn't be spoken out. There is no empathy attached to it, and a lot of effort is put to sweep it under the carpet and also convey that it is okay and it happens. Let's see this from a different angle altogether. At times, speaking out, venting out and expressing oneself can lessen a lot of pain and anguish and deep-seated, anxiety that you have. It can heal that one has been experiencing since childhood. Just imagine a world where there are no patient listeners who have no empathetic point of view or understanding. We will be mentoring more of anxious people, and such anxious people will be the face of the world. And this is the world we are today. What needs to change? The current thought process that it's okay to go through it and it happens. Number 2, it is not okay to speak out and share. What needs to change is our current thought process that, number 1, it is never okay to go through it, and number 2, it is always okay to speak out and share. These are the 2 things we need to change. To sum it up, what I have understood is we need to adopt the triple E's as 3 E's as a pillar of life and society. Number 1, empathy, to listen without any interruption and judgment. As we take up this, there will be more people who will be healed, and consequently these will be the forerunners to healing many more people ahead, and will make sure that no wrongs are done. In fact, wrongs are addressed they are punished without any stigma. Number 2, enabling to face. When we discovered it, it helps you come face to face with the fact that yes, it has happened and it is okay, that now that it has happened, we need to overcome it, share it, speak it out, and make sure that this doesn't happen at the grassroots level. Number 3, empower to change. With respect to the people who have healed, who have gone through it and healed, and they are now poised and determined and are ready to bring a change in the society, to empower every person they feel needs to heal and change the society as a whole, so that our future generation do not need to go through something similar. They do not need to share the same stories again, so that we can have a society, as Rabindranath Tagore said, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. I would like to leave you all with a thought. These wounds come afresh every time I see someone denied justice, and every time I extend myself to help them heal, I feel and I see a part of me getting healed. And these wounds are also to remind me that no other child needs to go through the same pain again. Let's start today and change the world. What do you say? Thank you.